So let's not let that happen on me. I need a boat for this and not spin on me. Where is the boat? Good evening and welcome back to another episode of Triple R Performance Garage, where tonight we're going to work on the old Ford Bomber. This is an orange F100 that has been slammed to the ground. Has a lot of pretty cool custom work, and I think it's a Caprice front end. I'm really not sure. We'll have to talk to the owner about that. But this has a brand new motor ready for it. I'm going to go ahead and show you a small clip of taking out the old one, and then we're going to get right to the new motor. What am I doing? Dun, 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 dun. So here it is. This is a 545 cubic inch big block Ford stroker motor. It has a Howard's boost series cam. It's actually intended for boost. This motor was built for that. It's got 10.5-to-1 compression, 750 intake, 650 exhaust lift. The duration, I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look that up. It has Cobra Jet style aluminum heads. I mean, this thing is pretty sweet. It does have this YN dual plane intake on it with the dual 650 Edelbrock carbs that are not staying on it. I just have it on here to show what it came with in configuration. And you can also see it has a full length pan, which is for the stroker motor. It actually needs that clearance. So we're gonna tear this thing apart. We're not keeping this intake, we're not keeping the carbs, and we're not keeping that pan. This thing is getting torn down and we're gonna switch to a whole different setup. So I guess might as well, let's just get done. All right, so I already loosened these up. Let's just go ahead and get these carbs off of here and set aside. And then the intake, it's actually on here loose. I took the bolts all out and we're gonna just crack it loose. It shouldn't be too tight. I kind of loosened it earlier. There we go. Nice. All right, now that I have this thing off of here, let's go ahead and bring you in closer so you can see what is going on inside this motor. All right, now that we have that dual intake off, the dual high ram, whatever intake, you can actually see the ports. This is a brand new build. It has roller tip rockers, nice new cam, like I said. The ports are beautiful. If you look inside here, these are really nice heads. I do notice that it's got a little junk in there from sitting, so what we need to do, I know these gaskets, they look pretty good, honestly. But I think we have a new set. We might as well take it all out. We'll take the gaskets off, take the bridges here off, clean this thing thoroughly, and then we'll prep it for the new intake. So I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this stuff off and getting started. But yeah, this is a nice looking motor. Should be a lot of fun. Alrighty, we have it all cleaned up now, so let's go ahead and get this intake gasket set on there so that we can get the intake. I'm not even going to show you the intake until I get this thing on here, so we go ahead and open this package. Alright, here's a really nice set of intake gaskets for a big block Ford. As you see, these are huge compared to the ports on this, but I don't think we'll have any sealing issues. Yeah, we should be all right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and make sure. This is one thing about ordering your own parts is you got to make sure before you order that the gaskets are actually the right size. So I think we'll be all right. Just check it and make sure. Yeah, it should be all right. So now that I know that that's the configuration it's gonna go, let's see here. Yeah, there ain't no way it fits up, right? Help me out, Ford guys. Nope, it can't go up. So that's the right direction. All right, so we're just gonna dab a little around this water jacket. Don't get carried away on RTV. People always over glue their intake gaskets. All you need to do is glue them on the ends. You don't even have to glue, technically. You could do grease. That's a trick that Dulcich uses on Engine Masters, especially since they take them on and off so much. Now, I always like to put some in the corners as well while I do this, even though I'm going to do the bridge anyway. So let's just get these glued up here real quick. Okay. Now I'm using red because I had it, not because it's right, wrong, or indifferent. All RTVs have different heat ranges and purposes and so on and so forth, but the red works just fine. Done it on a 100 builds, it's fine. It's not going to be an issue. So I'm just going to set it on here. In the background, you're hearing my shop heater. Sorry about that. But I live really high in the mountains. I've already talked about this. And it gets cold. Okay. Let's get this. Okay. Just lining them up, make sure everything's nice and straight. Oops. Put them on backwards. Pay attention, Linda. That's all right. It's not going to affect anything. Just be a little glued on this side. Not a big deal. Now, on these gaskets, you'll notice there's a little lip on the bottom. I'll show you that in a minute. That little lip is essentially to get clearance for the head gasket. And when I show you, you'll understand. But I'm going to go ahead and let this cure for a second. I might add a little bit of the red on this side of this gasket real quick. It's just a coolant port. I don't need to take this on and off much. Oh, careful. Like I said, I don't need to get carried away. Just a little bit goes a long way. All right, let that cure for just a second and be right back. All right, now that the gaskets have cured for a minute, I'm going to go ahead and lay down the bridge on each side. These did not come with the rubber gaskets, and wouldn't matter if they did, I'll never use them anyway. You never want to use these. If they're rubber gaskets on the ends, don't use them. Just throw them in the trash can. You've seen this on a lot of shows, especially if you're a car person, but make a bridge with the silicone. And be careful. People are sometimes bad at laying these beads. I know that I can. Let's see, can I do it? Been a while. Been doing so many LSs and Coyotes, I don't have to do any bridges lately. Oh, don't be an airbowl. There we go. All right. Had a little air pocket inside the tube. Let's see here. And then whoop on the bottom. Oh no! Wasn't fully cured. That's all right. We can fix that. Not a big deal. All right. Make sure you fill in those little gaps on the end. That's not the best bridge I've done, honestly, but whatever. It'll seal. Let's get the front one. Sorry I blocked the camera there at the end, but I needed to make sure I got that sealed. So we're going to let that set for a minute, and I'll show you what I was talking about with these little grooves on the bottom of the intake gaskets. These grooves allow for the head gasket to feed through. So keep that in mind if you ever see that. All right, so as I was talking about, you see this little lip here? It has like a little edge. I'm not really sure why they do that. They could just cut that off, but apparently there's a purpose for sealing. I'm just gonna go with it. But as you see, it goes around the head gasket there, and that's what I was talking about. So we're gonna let this set, and I'm gonna grab the intake, and we're gonna go from there. All right, it's cured long enough. So here's the intake we're going with. This is a Trick Flow mid-rise intake. It has kind of like the air gap intake that they have for Edelbrock, but this is Trick Flow's version, and it also has a single plane. So this is actually a really good intake for if he decides to boost this engine. Should give him good RPM and good top end horsepower. So I'm going to go ahead and plop it. So I got to be careful and make sure that I have a good plop. All right, don't screw up. Plop it good. Plop, 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 plop. Oh, good. All right, plop was pretty decent. I'm going to go search for bolts. I don't have any intake bolts. He didn't send me any, so I'm going to go ahead and go search for some, and we'll get them started, but I'm going to let it kind of rest for a minute. All right, I did a little digging and found these bolts. These are from the high ram. So I'm going to go ahead and use these. They seem to be just fine. Let's see here. Let's drop them. That's the key. So we'll get all these started and then tighten them down from inside to out. So you got to basically do a pattern from the inside out, and that's how you seal these manifolds. Might have gotten carried away with the red RTV, but that's fine. If it seals, it seals, and that's all that matters to me. Especially if he's going to ever boost this thing, I want to make sure it seals really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all in here, and then we'll start torquing it down. All right, so the manifold is torqued down, and I'm going to show a preview. We obviously can't keep this on here, but this is the beautiful injection hat or throttle body that's going to go on here. This actually has injectors inside of it. Unlike a carburetor, which has the two float bowls in the front and the rear that you're very much used to, this thing actually has dedicated injectors, 4 of them inside here. And then it plugs into the Terminator X Max computer, has a TPS sensor, and all the goodies. So this is actually a really sweet unit. It flows a lot of fuel, a lot of air, and it also, it's going to be good when he wants to go boost. So this is the top end. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to have an electronic distributor, whole bunch of goodies. We'll get to that when we put it in the car. But for now, I'm going to take this back off. We're going to flip the motor over, and we're going to take that pan off, and I'll show you the new pan. All right, so with it flipped over, this is the pan that's currently on it, and this is obviously more ideal. But let me go ahead and show you why I can't run this. So you see that with the cross member, the front frame there, this pan is never going to clear. So we're going to take this off. And I wanted to make sure that the stroker motor actually cleared the pan. So we sized out a very specific pan that worked on this. And we're going to go ahead and get it on here. So I got most of the bolts out on the inside. You actually pop these out. You got to get down in there and be careful. But they're gone already. And we'll just get these 4 front and rear out of the way. And then we'll go from there. Just take this pan off. Hopefully it works with me here. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So with the pan off, you can see there's a lot going on here. This thing is girdled. Why don't I just bring you in here? I'll show you what this thing is, and you'll see why this is a lot of motor for this guy, for this build. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I see. I'm an engine builder. I did not build this. A friend of mine built it, and I can see he used good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. All right, so here's the motor. As you see, right away you can see a PRW girdle. So this thing is girdled really well. And if you look real close, You can see the stamping on the rods. These are actually scat rods. They're pretty good forged H-beam rods. It has Keith Black pistons, it looks like. I actually checked those, they're 30 over. And then it has a stroker Eagle crank. So yeah, this thing's a pretty nice build. You should make some pretty dang good power with this thing. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other pan and you'll see, but we gotta remove the pickup because that pickup is not gonna work. All right, so I have the parts here sitting in front of me. This is a friend of mine's pickup and we actually discussed this quite a bit. I wanted to make sure that he chose the right setup for this motor. I'm hoping this pan fits around the girdle, but everything looks like it should clear just fine. It's a Canton race pan. So here's the oil pickup. So obviously we know it's going to be a lot different. So yeah, we're going to have to see exactly how that's going to bolt on there. Because quite honestly, I don't really see how that's going to work, but we'll look that up here in a second. It has a Canton race pan stud kit. And then let's grab this pan here. All right, and here's the Canton pan. Like I say in all my videos, if you get new parts, please clean them out. So I'm actually going to thoroughly clean this before we put it on the motor. But in the meantime, I just kind of wanted to show you, this is the pan. I believe it's an 8-quart pan, but I'd have to double check. But yeah, this is going to work just fine. This is a front sump pan. It gives plenty of clearance for the cross member that's in the truck, and it should look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and open the gasket set that he bought and see if the one-piece gasket on here would be better than what he bought, or if we want to go with the Canton gasket. So, all right, so here's the Canton gasket. Let me open it up here. It's like Christmas around here with all these boxes I'm opening lately. All right, this is not a one-piece gasket. This is actually the multi-gasket set. I hate these. They don't seal very well. So honestly, I'll talk to my buddy, but I'm sure he won't have any issue using the better gasket on this motor. So I'm going to go ahead and get the oil pickup off of this and see how we can get that other oil pickup to work. So better get started on pulling this off. All right, so I'm opening up the oil pickup here. Sorry, the heater again. We're going to look at this and try to get an understanding how in the world this pickup apparently works. Yeah, there's no way that'll work. I'm not sure how this is supposed to work like that. So I'm going to bring you in here and show you my conflict, and then we're going to find a solution to this. We may have to come back tomorrow after I look at it a little deeper, but clearly this isn't going to work. Let me go ahead and show you. All right, let's just look at the obvious. This oil pump, if I were to put it on like this, I'm pretty positive that's not right. So it would hit the crank, it would hit everything. This is just not the right pickup. So I need to call Summit and find out what in the world they sent him. It has a stamping on it. Let's see, 15751. Maybe he, not really sure what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and do some research. I'm going to wrap this up in a bag, make some phone calls, find a solution, and we'll be right back at it soon. All right, my friends, welcome back. It's a week later. I actually started doing some research and we found out that the oil pump does not match this pan setup. And there's a warning label that they are supposed to give you with the kit that they didn't give me. It says with this pan and this pickup, you must use a certain pump. That is this pump right here that is ordered. And let me get you the part number if I can. M84BHV-S. So let's go ahead and take this pan off, and I'll show you something else that I found out. This is a front sump pan, and usually it fits just fine. But if you see, there's a lip here. This lip actually touches the girdle. He doesn't necessarily need this girdle, but it's here, so we're going to leave it. So I'm actually going to get this thing off of here. I got to be careful. I don't want to get this all metal and junk in here, but this has to come off. It's not going to impact anything. We'll be fine. So with that in mind, I guess we might as well just start getting this one off. I'm going to go ahead and grab some tools, some 9/16 it looks like. So here's the 9/16 down here, and of course there's no room. So we'll just get this and take her off. Just a quick warning. When you put on your oil pump, make sure you Loctite it and torque it. Last thing you want to have happen is an oil pump fall off in your pan. That would be a catastrophic event. And don't drop your hardware down into the block. All right. So this is the pump that's coming off. Set it aside. Now this thing came with a new gasket, and I could theoretically take this one off, but seeing that this is a brand new build, why would I peel off a brand new gasket? Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? So with this, like this, you got to line up the oil pump chuck. If you don't line that up, you're going to have a world of problems. So please, please pay attention to that. So line it up. Make sure it's keyed in there. Okay. Seems to be good. Let's make sure. Perfect. So what that is, it's a rod that comes up from the top, and it actually, you know, big block Chevys, small block Chevys, Fords, all of them have this. It spins the pump. So when you put the distributor in, it spins. And that allows the pump to spin, which allows the motor to get oiled, and so on and so forth. So make sure you have that. Now, I like to Loctite this. You choose if you don't want to, whatever, but I like to Loctite. It came with these two tiny bolts here. I don't want to use them either because they're shorter. They're just not a nice design. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down for now and save the other bolts for the pickup. And it also comes with the pickup too, which, as you see, would potentially work, but I'm going to use the one the pan came with. All right, so let me go ahead and grab some Loctite, and we'll get this thing on here. And with Loctite, just put a little on the threads. Don't get too carried away. Make sure your threads are dry. I noticed the block was already dry since it's a new build anyway, where the bolt holes go at least. Okay. Let's thread that down there. Now I'd like to bring you in closer, so I'm going to go ahead and put the glasses on and bring you in here. All right, so as you see, here is the pump, and you see the rod going through here. There's actually a hex style tip to it that goes into the pump. So make sure that that's nice and lined up. Don't want to hear a boom boom on a brand new build. So I'm going to torque these down in a minute. Just going to snug them down a little bit. And then I'll grab my torque wrench. But before I do that, I actually want to show you something. This motor sat around for about a year, and even though it was wrapped up and taped up and cleaned up, you can actually see dirt and residue. Keep these things sealed tight and then clean it. This motor was brand new. You don't want to get all that junk in there. So I'm going to do a thorough cleaning of this before I put everything back together permanently. But just keep in mind, if you're storing a motor, even if it's brand new, Pay attention to that. You don't want that junk in your motor. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and torque this down and then we'll continue. All right, the oil pump is torqued down and the new pickup came with a gasket and some new bolts. I could silicone this, but I'm not going to. I don't necessarily think that's required here in this situation. Everyone likes to over silicone things. It's not necessary on all gaskets. So I'm going to go ahead and add a dab of blue Loctite. I don't want to lock it on there permanently, but I want it to be pretty tight. Again, you don't want an oil pickup to fall off or you'll starve your motor and blow it up. So you do you, but this is how I'm going to do it. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over and put it on. This is a one-man show here, so you're going to have to deal with the movement. My apology, but we'll get there. All right, that's going on nice and smooth. Let's get our 10 mil. I think it's 10 mil. It might be a 7/16. It's 7/16. So I'm going to go grab a 7/16. I'll torque this down to specs that they have in the box, and then we'll go to the pan. Okay, oil pump's installed, pickup is done, and as you see, I cleaned up quite a bit here. But before I go modify this pan for this section here, which we know hits this, I just got to make sure it's going to fit and do what I need it to do for the pickup. And it sure does. So as you see here, the pan is very, very close to fitting, right? But as you see, it's rocking on that girdle. And my fear is, let me show you my fear. Release the pan, please. Please release. Release the pan. Release pan. No, release pan. I said release pan. Can you release? Release pan. Wiggle, wiggle. There you go. Anyway, so my fear is if I were to push this down and tighten it and the girdle falls over the lip of this, who's going to take this pan? This will never, ever, 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 ever come apart. So I'm going to wrap this up, take this out. I'm going to mill this section off real quick. Not mill, but cut it off. And then I'm going to clean this pan as clean as you could possibly make it where I would eat a meal off of it. And then we'll unbag it, put it on the motor, and go from there. But before I do that, I want to bag this thing, and I actually can get one more thing done first. This thing came with a really nice gasket, and I don't want to change this gasket. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this gasket on here. I'm going to get the oil pan stud kit and start threading those in. So let me grab that. All right, and ta-da! This is the Canton oil pan stud kit. It's nice. It makes it really convenient for installs and removals and yada, yada, yada. So open it up. That'd be nice, right? So you're going to have a bunch of small ones that go on the sides. And then you're going to have larger ones that go on the front and back. So keep that in mind. And these things are Allen headed. So it's hard to see, but it's an Allen head. So I'm going to get them started, and then I'm going to Allen head them down. So just a quick thread job. Take them down smooth. Don't over tighten them. And I may not even need the Allen head if they bottom out. And those two did. So I'm going to go ahead and continue threading these in, and then I'm going to go cut that pan. So I will see you very soon. I'll be right back. All right, we're back at it. This is cleaned up, studs are in, pan is ready to go. I actually called Canton, and I asked them what to do. They said, just massage this a little in. So I did. Didn't have to cut anything. However, I want to show you something. This is cleaning that pan out from shipment. Look at this. Look how filthy this pan was. Clean your parts, people. Don't just buy it out of the box and put it on. Or do and risk blowing it up from getting junk inside your motor. So this thing's clean. Should go right on. Pretty confident it will. And look at that. It's almost like it was meant to be. Wait a minute. Forgot one very important piece. I'd like to put some silicone in the corners. So I'm going to take it back off, put some silicone in it, and I'll torque it down, and then we'll move on to the next part. So just put silicone in the corners, okay? That just helps seal it. So I'll do that, and then I'll put it back on, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, the pan is now torqued and dried and everything is good. Went and had dinner to make sure we'd let it dry for a little bit. Now I'm going to move on to the next piece. This is the oil filter adapter. They come with a bunch of designs for small block, big block Fords, so on and so forth. And I don't want to play any games. I just want to make sure I use exactly what was on this motor or the previous motor for this, this chassis. This brings it out to here. Now the problem is you can't thread into this with the style that this is. So I got to change this adapter first. She's on there tight. So she's turning on me. Let's not let that happen on me. Okay, let's get a bolt. I need a bolt for this should not spin on me. Where is your bolt? Well, here's a cool thing. Just use a screwdriver. Okay, now that I know this thing is hard to get off, I'm going to tap it with a hammer. Give it a little tappy tappy. Sometimes it just needs a shock. Wow. Wow. That sucker is on there. Did it come loose? It did. Sheesh. Why were you so dang tight? Well, that's okay. We're going to set it aside now. I got to dry out the threads. I like to Loctite this as well. So I'll dry the threads out real quick. Okay, that's good. All right. Now, here is the other style. I already cleaned it up really well. I'm going to go ahead and Loctite this. Okay. All right. Now I want this tight just like the other one was, but we won't even torque it. We're just going to give it a nice tight torque. That's not the right thing to do. Let me grab the torque wrench. Good. Now, I already cleaned this. This thing has two O-rings. One is on the bolt here, so you got to make sure you get that O-ring inside that groove. Sometimes it flexes, so be careful. Make sure it's in the groove. All right, this O-ring is stretched a little, so I'm going to go get another one. I'll be right back. All right, so we're good there now. So the position of this, when I took it off the other engine, it was actually pointing right here. I'm hoping that I get that position as close as I possibly can. Okay, let me go double check. Yep, this actually pointed just a hair like this. So I'm going to tighten that down and call it good. All right. So the motor's getting real close. We got to get a pipe plug for right here. And then he's going to have to order a plate to delete this. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get a pipe plug in here, and that'll need some thread sealant. All right, so here's the pipe plug. Just put a little bit of this on the threads, make sure it don't leak. I don't like getting carried away. Okay. Thread her on in there. And I'll get a half and, send her home. Now I think it's time to flip her over, and we'll work on water pump and some other stuff, but we're getting close. All right, so I'll turn this around towards you, and we'll get to starting on the water pump here. So I actually have these bolts in here that go through the cover. I'm going to go ahead and grab the water pump, and then we'll figure out what to do next. So I'll be right back. All right, we're on to the water pump, and here it is. Typical water pump, right? But I'm not a big-time Ford guy, and in good Ford fashion, they like to throw me for a curveball. It has a plate that goes between the water pump and the timing cover housing. So I'm going to go ahead and grease it up. Takes gaskets on both sides. You do not need to RTV and glue everything together, okay? You don't. You can grease things. Just put a little grease on it. You don't have to get carried away. Okay, just put a little grease on it. But like I said, you do not have to silicone everything together. I've been trying to tell people that for years, but it seems like they like to glue everything together. So use a little grease. These things are fun. I'm not a Ford guy. I appreciate them, but I'm not a Ford guy. Not really I like LS's, but that doesn't make me a Chevy guy either. I think I'm kind of just a car guy. I like cars in general. If it hauls. I like my Ford diesels. I really love the 6.7. I have a 6.7 Dodge that I've done in a previous video, and quite honestly, I just like my Ford. My Ford 6.7 is just a really good truck. Now, my race cars are all GM, except for my Challenger, which I'm not going to share that yet. That's a huge project. I'm actually going to be building that for SEMA. But I love my Challenger. That's why I don't race it. So, I don't know. I'm a car guy. I've even had things just like a VR4. I've had RX-7s. I like cars. And every manufacturer has a good car. So, all right, now that this is nasty and I'm all gooped up, I'm going to go ahead and grab a paper towel, clean up my hand. Okay, so then just take a bolt. So these have different size bolts. They have different depths, whatever. So I'm going to look at it here, and I'm actually starting to notice that these bolts might need to be longer. Look at that. That might be a little too short. So these are what came with the motor, but I'm pretty sure they're too short. Find out in a minute. So I'm going to grab this, and then I'll line it up. All right, there we go. What a pain in the butt. So I'm going to get some of these bolts out of my way. Here we go. I set them in there because I didn't have any bolts for this, other than the 4 on the outsides. So I'm going to now see and hope that they're long enough. And if they're not, that's fine. We'll find some. So I'm just going to set this on here, and I'm going to go search for some bolts. So one thing, keep in mind, don't assume that the bolts you're provided are correct. That's one thing that I run into a lot when I work on other people's projects is they don't always have the right things. All right, I may have to go shopping for bolts tomorrow, but that's okay. We're going to get this thing on here for now with as many bolts as we can. It's greased on there instead of glued on there. How ironic that is. That won't affect me now. If I had used the silicone that everyone likes to use, I'd been in a world of trouble because I wouldn't have had the bolts. And then I'd be sitting here chasing my tail on how I was going to fix that problem. So don't always assume that you need silicone for everything, okay? Okay. Are we good? Okay. Let me go ahead and tighten a couple bolts in real quick here. Okay, I'll find a few more. And maybe I can find enough to get, get it holding itself. But as you see, these are all too short. Look, too short, too short, too short, too short, all too short. Ended up being worthless for what I needed. Let's see, can they go on the other ones? Nope. Nope. Can they use them anywhere? Nope, too long. All right. Yep, that's what you get. So, guess I have my answer. So I'm going to get a couple more bolts just to do the short threads, and then I will buy some bolts tomorrow and continue this. But for now, it's kind of on there, and that's what all I really care about right now. Unfortunately, I won't be able to put some pulleys on until it's in the truck, because then I'll block myself from putting these bolts in, but that's okay. Kind of is what it is in these scenarios. Here's a couple more shorties. That's good. Get that one. Is there any more shorties here? Is that short? No. Is that short? No. Is this short? I mean, look at this. Ford is weird. Do weird things. All right, that water pump is on there for now. We'll get the right size bolts to make up for these. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts. I know the lengths that I need approximately, so I will get those, but that won't stop me from continuing. So water pump is on here. Oil pan, oil pump, intake, it's all done as far as this is concerned. Let me see if there's anything else that we can get done before we set it in the car. All right, so it's time for me to bring in here up close now. So what we have going on is I'm going to do some of the plugs. Here's a coolant temperature sensor for the EFI. Unfortunately, I don't like that thermostat housing, but it is what it is. I don't have a chrome one right now. He didn't buy a chrome one, so we're going to use what we have. So we'll just put it right into the housing here. Okay. That'll work. Okay, now what else do we have? We have an oil pressure sensor, goes back here. This is actually for the gauge that he has in the truck currently, so I'm going to go ahead and put some thread sealant on that. And then I have a couple of these pipe plugs, these plugs that'll go in here and here. That's if you have a heater core, but he doesn't have one, doesn't even have a heater. So I'm just going to cap them for now, so we'll put thread sealant on those. I'll go grab my Allen. And then I don't have the nipples to basically, there's a hose, you put a line right here. And I don't have the nipples for that either. So unfortunately, all I can do is these pipe plugs and some miscellaneous things and go from there. But in the meantime, I'm pretty close to done. This is the transmission that he sent me. And it was a brand new build, has a whole bunch of goodies done to it. And as you see, it was wrapped up for a while and it looks like he tore it apart. Has a nice converter. I don't know the stall or anything about it. But yeah, this is what's going to go in it. So I'll probably have to get this thing on the ground, or at least the motor on the ground, bolt this up together. And I want to drop it all in one piece. But that won't be on this round. This round, we'll just go ahead and wrap up this motor, get these plugs in, see what else we have, and seal it up. So yeah, let me go grab the Allen head for this and the other plug. All right, here's the Allen head that we have. I had this pipe plug laying around, so we'll just use it. Throw some sealant on there. It is coolant after all. You don't want it to leak. At least I don't. Okay. Okay. That'll work. Let's get the other one. Put some sealant on it. Okay, like I said, I don't have the nipples for those, so kind of, yeah, up you know what with the paddle and whatnot, or without a paddle, or whatever the heck that saying is. And this is oil, so I'll still put a little bit of sealant on it, but thread that sucker in there. Okay. And that is good. I'll tighten that down here in just a moment. But yeah, that's pretty close to all I can do. We'll bolt the plate on here to keep this sealed. We can drop the distributor. Let me grab that distributor. And bloop. And that's the motor. Obviously I'm not going to leave this on here, but I wanted to show you guys kind of the look of the motor. Hopefully he buys himself a new thermostat housing, but this thing's going to look pretty good. This is a heck of a lot of motor for that truck, but that's not my choice to make. I'm throwing it in there. He's going to have a lot of fun with it, and I'm happy he will. We need to get some bolts for this. I need to get the accessory drives on, but this will not stop me from getting it in the truck. So on the next video, I'm going to weld the frame, fix the frame, do a little spray on it, just kind of make it look good. Then I'm going to go ahead and bolt the tranny and torque converter to this, add the shift linkage, get it all ready to go, and drop it in the truck. And hopefully we'll be one step closer to hearing this thing make some noise. And man, this is going to be a heck of a truck. I mean, he'll have a lot of fun with this thing. And maybe he'll give me permissions to go, you know, we'll see. But here nor there, thank you for watching my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you have, I appreciate it. All the support I can get is greatly appreciated. And yeah, I guess I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.